Hi, I'm Melinda, and welcome to Raining in My Dystonia. Yes, I'm actually just sitting here on the patio. We just had a nice rainstorm come in and leave. Actually, you know what? I thought it was gonna come later, but it came early, and so I was just sitting here and enjoying it, and I wanted to talk about a dystonia thing from yesterday. I'm laughing now, but I was very upset about it yesterday. I went to the doctor to get some blood work done to take back to my holistic gal, and anyway, so I was at their lab getting my blood test, and because my left shoulder spasms, and moves periodically on its own, I only get, if there's a needle going in my arm, it's going in my right arm, because it never goes well going in my left arm. So they were trying to get blood and didn't, pinched me, got me twice on the crook of my elbow, and neither of those worked. And then she tried further down my arm, and that one didn't work either. So then she talked to another gal, and she was like, I can't find a good vein here. And the other gal came over, and she said, well, I don't see anything good there. Would you, do you mind if we do your hand? And I said no. And then she's like, well, I see one I really like on that arm. And I said, you can't do the other arm, And she's like, well, I guess we can do the hand. And then I said, okay, She's like, but I see one I really like on your other arm. I said, you can't do the other arm. I said, I have a movement disorder. You start going at me with a needle, and it's probably going to move, and then you're really not going to you're not going to like that other arm or that vein. And so it was really frustrating and irritating, and made me really sad. By the time when she was going to do my hand, I said, this is the last time I'm doing this. I said, if you can't get it this time, I will come back another day. I said, I ain't doing this again. And she was like, okay, and I was getting more irritated. And then I heard this other gal say, must have been a supervisor or someone else, say, if you don't know you can get it, don't even try. I heard her say that kind of, under her breath, or, so not like everyone could hear it, but I heard it, and the gals working on my arm heard it. So by the time I was done there, I had been jabbed 4 times. They did finally get the blood out of my hand. And I walked out of there crying. Well, I walked out of the office and started crying. Why was I crying, you say? I wasn't like all out bawling. I was just tearing up and stuff, but I was bawling because, or not bawling, I was upset because I now had these, cotton balls and band-aids down my arm, and I was upset because she's like, well, I like your left arm, and she just wasn't getting it, that there's a reason you can't do my left arm. I dislocated my right arm in 2014, we had Smokey on a 2-week trial period, And like about a week into it, I slipped and dislocated my right elbow in the mud. And that day in the ER was awful. It was awful because since my right arm was the one dislocated, they couldn't put a needle in it, and they had to do it. They had to try and do it in my left arm. And I remember it was this male nurse trying to get me, you know, with the needle so they could sedate me to put my arm back in the socket. And he had a hell of a time. At some point, I don't know, he and my husband started discussing, I don't know what even they were talking about, but trying to distract me, and it worked. They distracted me enough for him to finally get the needle in. So I guess that's why I was just upset, because, you know, here it is. This is my life. You can't, you know, it's too hard to use my left arm, and she just didn't get it. I said a couple times, I have a movement disorder, and she just didn't get it. So that's what upset me. Another one. Oh yeah, isn't this great? Check out my arm. The blood test was 2 days ago. So this is all the bruising on my arm. And this was just one of the areas they stabbed me for the blood test. It hurts. Now I know why it hurts. Because it's all the heck bruised up. Exactly a week since they took blood, and I'm still freaking bruised up. Kind of sick of it, and it actually still hurts a little bit too. I'll have to make note for the next time I go to the doctor about giving me someone that knows what they're doing. And this is 5 days later. 5 days since I have blood taken. Isn't that lovely? That is just lovely. I'm freaking old, and dystonia makes me old, and I'm disgusted. This is our guinea legs. That one is Legs, and that is Legs' girlfriend. Four Legs has had some trauma in his life, so you know, he rests, and then she keeps other bruise away from him. I didn't get to finish my video yesterday about my experience with the blood at the doctor, so because it's already the pour, so this is my ending. I took a little video of my arm, because one of the places they took some blood was just above they tried to take blood, was just above my wrist, and now that son of a gun is all bruised the heck up, and it actually hurts some. Anyway, that's all I got, just another frustration about living with dystonia. Thanks y'all, have a good day.